Hello and welcome to Seeing Ink Spots. My name's Elizabeth Price, and today I'm going to show you how to make a cute one-sheet wonder fold-up box. This little box is made with a half a sheet of cardstock. So it's based on a 5.5 by 8.5 inch piece of cardstock. So that's what you're going to need is one piece of balmy blue cardstock. So I have that here with me, and I'll be cutting this in half. The other supplies I'll be working with today. I have a piece of the Rain or Shine Specialty Designer Series paper. This is in the January to April mini catalog. That's January to April of 2023. And I'll also be using a few added elements from a paper pumpkin kit called Sunshine and Smiles. So let's get into it and let's make this box. Let me show you the pattern. If you would like to take a screenshot, this is the pattern I'm working with. I wrote this up, I put it on my blog a couple years ago, and I thought it was time to make a video of this and, kind of go back to this pattern and make something cute. You make all these patterns, why not use them again? So here is the pattern. It's 8.5 by 5.5. You can see in the patterns where you're going to score and cut. And then I've given some real simple instructions over here. So hopefully you've taken that screenshot by now. But you will see this posted on my blog and in my Seeing Ink Spots Backstage Pass and Seeing Ink Spots page. So the first thing we're going to do is trim our cardstock down to 5.5 by 8.5. So there's my 5.5 by 8.5. You can see I could make two boxes with this pattern, but we're going to use one. And for now, we're going to score, but I'm going to put my cutting blade up and out of the way so that I don't accidentally score whoops, crish crash. I don't accidentally cut something that I only want scored. So our first score line here is going to be along the long edge at 3.5. There's 3.5. Now I'm going to slide my long edge to 5 inches and I'm going to score. Okay, easy enough. Along the long edge, 3.5 and 5. Rotate your cardstock 90 degrees and we're going to line up the left edge with 1.25. And we're going to score this. Okay, while it's still in the cutting machine, just where it is, I'm now going to use my cutting blade and I'm going to cut in that score line down to the very first score line. I'm going to pick up my blade, slide it over so that it's not cutting the paper, and I'm going to pierce it again at that second score line and cut to the end. Okay? So, and that shows that here on the pattern. So those red lines are where you're going to cut your paper. When I finish cutting these, I'll pull it out and show it to you so it'll totally make sense. Now I'm going to put the right side of my cardstock on this 1.25. It's over here. I'm going to put that on that side there at 1.25. I'm going to take my cutting blade out of I want to make sure I'm not cutting the whole thing, but I'm going to score it. Now with my cutting blade, right in that score line, you're going to stop. You're going to kind of got to get it all the way there. You're going to stop at that first score line, pick up the arm of your trimmer so that takes the blade out, then put it back down and pierce your cardstock right there at that second score line and give it a slice. So now the piece looks something like this. Okay, so if you were to take these away, it kind of looks like the letter H. Speaking of take it away, I'm going to fold one of these down and give it a crease, bring my trimmer back in, and along the long edge, I'm going to put these two edges on 1/2 inch. So this is the 1/2 inch line right here. Okay, so that's where these two tops are, and we're going to cut those off just like that. So these two pieces are trash unless you want them for something. I don't. Now we'll do the exact same thing on this other side. We'll fold that in. These two top edges go to 1/2 inch, and we're gonna cut them off. Okay, that's it for cutting this box. That's all your scores, all your cut lines, everything. We are there. So let's assemble this, or at least see how we're going to assemble it. Let's fold on all the score lines. All score lines are gonna get folded inward, okay? So now that one's folded inward. We will fold these inward as well, just like that. Now we'll flip this kind of over. So these are folding inward as well. I just kind of have my paper turned over just so I could get to it. And this one will flip over. Okay, so now that I have it in this orientation, these tabs here and these tabs here are gonna come up, and these will form the side of the box, just like so. So it's at this point, if you want to stamp on this, that you would open these up and do any stamping you might want to do. But just be aware of the orientation that it's going to go. So if this is, you know, if this is up, just remember that's where that is, and you would stamp across right there and then right there if you wanted, okay? I'm not gonna stamp this one. I'm actually gonna decorate it with designer series paper. But let's actually assemble this portion and you'll see what we need to do. So I'm putting some glue on that tab, and I will put glue on the same tab just over a little, this other one. So you only have to put glue on 2 of the tabs. Okay, be careful with that. It's the one thing, we've got open glue here. So these are gonna go to the inside because that's where my glue is. And I'm gonna reach this, sorry, I was out of the camera there, center view, but that's how this comes together. So just kind of squish, burnish, whatever you might want to call that. You can kind of sit your box flat. I'll just kind of show you. Reach your bone folder in there and give a nice good burnish. And same thing on the other side. Okay, so talk about easy. That's why it's a one sheet wonder box. It's, you know, it's just a wonder how it comes together so easy, and it is one piece of paper. Now, this box easily can be, you know, made bigger, and you could use the entire piece of cardstock and make one and make it just a little bit larger. But there is the start of our box. Now, let's decorate it. I'm going to use a piece of that Rain or Shine designer series paper. And here's what I'm going to do, because I want certain sections of this paper. And let me flip this around to the right direction. I'm going to put the cloud side at 4 3/4. Okay, so 4 3/4. And I am going to cut this. I'm going to be fairly specific about how I cut it, because I want a certain section over here, but I also want to maintain the rest of the piece of paper without putting a bunch of cut marks in it, so that I can use it for a future project and I have most of it intact. So at 4 3/4, and I'm going to take my cutting blade and I'm going to stop at the 3-inch mark, okay? So there is my 3-inch mark. Let me see, I'll just pick that up. Rather than zooming in, I'm gonna pick it up. So there's 3-inch. Now pick up the trimmer and I'm gonna turn it, and I'm gonna put this edge at 3 inches, okay? So all of our pieces are going to be 3 inches wide. That's what we need on our box. So I'll just bring this and I will cut, and I'm gonna stop right there. So, like I say, now I still have a nice big large piece that I can save and work with, but I haven't cut it into a bazillion little pieces. But now this piece here is going to be enough to decorate one side of our box, okay? So let's cut our pieces though. We need a 3.5-inch piece. There's one of them. Then we're going to need a 1/2-inch piece. I'm sorry, a 3/4-inch piece. So 3/4. And then this last section here is 3 inches. So this is 3 by 3, 3/4 by 3, and 3.5 by 3. So once you have that, Like I said, this will decorate one side of your box. If you want to decorate both sides, which I do, we'll just do the exact same thing. We're going to repeat what we just did. So now I'm going to first, let's see, we'll do this first cut. So we're gonna put it at 4 3/4, just like we did, right? And we could have done this all at one time, but I wanted you to see how I was breaking it down. So I'm going to now put my edge in there, and I'm going to trim this to 6 inches. And you're gonna stop right there at 6 inches. It's nice because you have these registration marks on the side and on the top, so you can work with your different directions. Now we'll put this edge just like we did before. This gives us a chance to review, right? We'll put that right in there at 3 inches. This edge is at 3 inches. And we're gonna take that all the way up to our cutting line. And there you have it. We still have a nice piece of paper here that we can put back into the packet. And we'll divide this just like we did the first one. So this first cut is 3 1/2. My next cut is going to be 3/4 of an inch. Okay. And then this piece here ends up being 3 by 3. So these are the pieces that we'll use to decorate our box here. So we'll start with the front piece, and it fits on there just like so. Now, you might not choose to use designer series paper, or you might want to cut it down so that you have a little bit of like a layered matte look. It's up to you. This one's designed to cover the whole piece. So you choose how you're going to decorate it. For today, this is what I'm going to do. And so these pieces from the Rain or Shine DSP coordinate with the February Paper Pumpkin Kit. And so this little box here is kind of a mixture of that designer series paper that coordinates with February's Sunshine and Smiles Paper Pumpkin Kit. So that's why I'm making this little box is for that class. So there's that first side. Easy enough, right? And the designer series paper is doing a lot of the decorating for me. Now we'll do the same thing with that second piece that's the exact same size. Okay. And I'm using Tombo's liquid multi-purpose glue. I prefer glue to a tape runner. I mean, tape runners have their place, right? But in this sort of situation, I like glue because I can kind of move things around while it's still wet. I have a few minutes before it sets up and gets away from me and I can't reposition it. So there are my sides. Not only is it a nice cute added decoration to the box, but it gives it some sturdiness. It makes it a little durable. Now these pieces here, okay, you could go either direction and have that fun pop of flowers in there, or if you want to switch it up and do the plaid on the inside, we can. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a nice contrast inside. And for these two pieces, I am going to, and again, you could change it however you like, but I'm going to give myself an even border on the bottom and on the top, just like that, okay? There's that. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Nice thing about this project is if you missed the step, you can kind of watch me do it again because I'm repeating everything on the opposite side. A little more glue. Okay, same drill. I'm going to center. So I have an even border on the top and on the bottom. That's basically what I'm saying center-wise. And then we'll just line that up side by side, or across rather. These two pieces here are designed, and they're kind of the leftovers. I could have made them wider if I want, but it's just kind of how I designed it. It's up to you. But now I'm going to center those right here on this little bit of box where I said we could do some stamping. But for this one, I'm going to decorate it with the designer series paper. Now, you could have some fun and use a lot more of the prints from this pack, but I just this piece is so cute. I'm like, well, I just want to use it. This is what I want to focus on. So, okay, and we'll do this other side. Last piece, and then we can kind of decorate. We'll make handles and then we'll decorate. How's that? I'll fold this down just so you can see where I'm going. I'm centering this top to bottom, and then side to side. Should span all the way across. There you have it. So like I say, it really does, once you get all these layers in, so I have 3 layers of paper here that's giving this some nice durability. Okay, so there's our box. Now what I want to do is to create handles for the box, and I'll show you the handles again. So here are the handles, and the handles are cut with the Stylish Shapes dies. And so I have 2 pieces here of thick, basic white cardstock. These are both 3 1/4 inch square. I am gonna hold them together, just like that, because I know I can cut 2 at a time. I'm going to center my circle, okay? And this is the largest circle in the Stylish Shapes set of dies. This is the second to largest circle, and I'm gonna set that right inside, and I'm going to align that. I'm eyeballing, I'm not stressing that it's, entire, it looks pretty close. And I'm going to use a Post-it note to hold these in place, and then I'll run this through my Stampin' Cut emboss machine, and when they come out, they look something like so. So I've cut the 2 handles here. So now these 2 handles are going to glue to the inside. You could glue to the outside or the inside. It's your choice, just up to you. But I'm going to glue them to the inside. And so I'm going to do just a little bit of glue on the bottom here. Okay, got a little high. And I'm eyeballing this, folks. You don't need to measure. It's up to you how much you want to do. But you can see I'm centering it, and I'm just kind of, what looks good here. And I may need to add a little bit more glue in there because I just didn't know how far I was going to go. But once I have them in place, I'll show you a little trick that I like to do. I'll take a piece of scratch paper like this, and I'll put a little bit of glue on the tip of my paper. It could be your Post-it note, it could be some cardstock, and I'll just kind of lift this up and reach a little bit more glue inside there. I just didn't want too much glue to begin with because I didn't want it coming out on this other side. And we'll do the same thing right there. Add just a little bit more glue, and there you have it. There's our first handle. Let's repeat over here. Again, we're repeating everything, right? So a little bit of glue on this edge here. And I went a little higher up this time. And so I'm going to do about the same thing. I'm not like getting totally, it's got to be, just the right measurement. I'm just kind of eyeballing and getting a good sense. I'm trying to make it as similar as possible. I need to do the same thing. My little spatula. I usually have a garbage can right next to me when I am creating, and I'll pull out a scrap piece that, it's the edge of something that you're done with, something that you've cut away from like the die cut or something, and I'll use those as little spatulas all the time. So I'm always reaching into the garbage can for a scrap of paper so that I can use it as a spatula. Okay. There are my handles, and they just kind of reach up like so. And I noticed that I put them on backwards. That's okay. So the stitching lines are here on this inside, but the stitching lines come through on the other side too. But be aware of it. And it's a preference. It doesn't matter. There's not a right or a wrong, but let's decorate this. I'm going to use a little bit of the frayed pink ribbon. This is Blushing Bride. Yeah, frayed grosgrain ribbon. I believe it's discontinued. I don't know. It's beautiful though. It might be retired. I could be wrong about that. But I am just going to cut myself. I like fairly big bows. So I probably have about oh, I'm going to say 20 inches, 18, 20 inches here. Cut yourself off a nice length, and we'll just tie a bow in this. And, you know, this is just kind of like a little Easter or a little spring type, springtime cute little basket type box like bow, or not bow, but gifty type of, you know, paper craft here. So add a fun little ribbon to it. Trim your ends. This one's just a little bit longer, so I'm going to trim that off. There's that. Whoops, crash of the scissors. Now, I said I was using elements from the Sunshine and Smiles Paper Pumpkin Kit from February. So I have a few of these little elements here that are going to be perfect to add to my box. And let's see, I need some dimensionals. So I'm going to put a dimensional on the chick and another one on the bottom so it doesn't teeter. And I'll put one dimensional on the umbrella. Okay, so I'm getting those ready. And I need to do a little bit of stamping. One, I'm going to stamp this label here. And I'm also going to stamp a piece of white paper. So I'm going to stamp the sun image from the kit. And I'm going to stamp You Brighten My Day. That's also from the kit, both of those stamps. And I'm going to stamp the sun in Mango Melody. The kit comes with the Mango Melody ink spot. You could use that. I'm going to use my full-size ink pad. So I'm inking up that sun, stamping it on my paper. And now with a pair of scissors, you're going to cut around that, excuse the arm reach here, but cut around that sun, and that way we're going to add this in as another element to our little package here. So pretend I have already done that, because you can see I have one ready here. You don't want to watch me fussy cut, do you? And here's my Flirty Flamingo ink pad. And Flirty Flamingo is not part of the kit, but it's part of the color palette from the kit. And so that's why I'm pulling that color in. And it will match with my cute little ribbon here. So I'm just centering my stamp image and I'm pressing down, and I am gently pressing. I am not over pressing the design. And there you have You Brighten My Day. Okay, I have almost everything ready. Let's add a dimensional. We need two more. I'm going to put a dimensional on the sun, and I'm going to put a dimensional on the label here. But when we layer this label onto the sun, it's going to be, because I have two dimensionals in this layer here on these two and only one here, it means I need to double up so that this will sit flat and not be lopsided. I'm going to double up on my dimensionals on the left side of my label here. And you'll see in just a second, because that sun's going to layer in there. Okay, we have the pieces ready now. So I'm going to start with the sun. And the sun, I'm going to kind of set it, I'm going to offset it over here a little bit to the right. Now make sure that from the back side that you don't see that dimensional, okay? I can get it up there. So I've got it hidden. Now we'll take our double-sided single layer dimensional here of our cute little banner label. And this is going to stretch right across. And I'm pretty much going to center this the best I can. Right across that sun. Whoops, I'm going to come down just a little bit. So across the sun, right there, like so. Super cute. And I love this little chick. He's looking up at the sun. Oh, the sun is out. I don't need my umbrella anymore. So he or she kind of puts it down like that. And there you have it. Last but not least, I like to add a little bit of shine and sparkle. So I'm using my Wink of Stella for the sun here. Okay. And we'll put a little bit of Wink of Stella on the umbrella, and definitely on this cute little chick. And there you have it. You are ready to fill a little one sheet wonder box. You can see this one has a little bit of crinkle paper, ready shreddy in there. But what's nice is you could tie them off like this with the bow and fill them. You don't even have to open that up again. So you can choose whether or not to untie it and fill it and add more, or whatever you'd like to do. But there you have it, a one sheet wonder box. I think they're super cute. What are you gonna make with this pattern? I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.